You're now listening to the Zod and Drea podcast.
Welcome, everybody, back to the Zod and Drea podcast. It is Tuesday, June 19th.
Did you miss us?
June 19th. This is episode 114. We are still pushing forward. We're doing everything we can to make sure we bring you, I should say, the best in what we do, which is our own opinion. Okay?
And we love to share it.
Yeah.
Can you tell?
We're
We
not
love to
Walter
share it.
Cronkite. Okay? We're not in the front Cronkite news.
No.
But we are extremely opinionated, but we do always come with the facts no matter what.
And
So,
entertaining at the same time.
Exactly.
Hopefully. I think we're entertaining.
I think so too. And I think everybody else is listening also believes so too. So, hey, sorry about anybody who has had any issues with the website for the last few days. We just discovered it. We had absolutely no idea there was something wrong with the SSL certificate. We are hoping that it has been fixed by now. And there was also a crazy plugin that kind of had us logged out, and we had no idea about it. So, of course, we are fixing it, and make sure you will visit the site again. Because you'd be missing a whole bunch of stuff if you weren't.
So don't worry. Everything is great.
Everything's good. All technical issues are taken care of, and at least for the next 3 months. So remind us in the next 3 months if it's down again, because
I put a note.
yeah, exactly. I'm gonna have to fix it again.
So what are we talking about today?
So it was a really busy week, because believe it or not, we actually saw within the last 1 week 4 movies. We were in the theater that much.
Right. That's how much of an escape we needed.
Yeah, so we're going to try to discuss at least 3 of the movies, because we discussed the Ocean's 8 last week, but we're going to talk about Upgrade, Incredibles 2, and also Hereditary, which all came out pretty much at the same time. So we went and go see them, and it was dope. What's the second thing?
Second thing that we're going to talk about, relationships, about music. And the importance, if it all is important to you, about having your companion or the person that you love share the same music, or do you guys have a similar love of music, or do you hate music? We'll talk about it.
Yeah, so we'll just talk a little bit about the tunes that we listen to as well. For the final topic, which is going to be the main topic of the day, because we were sitting there just looking at the news all week and just wondering where in the hell the soul of the United States is gone. And we're going to be discussing what does the United States represent in 2018, because look, I don't know what making America great again means, because I should assume that we should be always consistently making ourselves better, but some people's ideas of what again is, and as opposed to great, and in its correlation between each other is a problem. So we're going to discuss that. So let's get into it now. We're going to talk about, let's just get it over with the music and relationships. Let's discuss that right now. What are you writing down?
You're like getting over with, just get it over with.
What are you writing down?
I got some ideas about something, just popped up really quick.
Okay, no doubt. So, the one thing we like to do is, I've made some playlists in music. Now, I don't know about you guys, but, in Spotify, you can make playlists, and I have a lot of music. I have a lot of music in my collection regardless. Most of it is hip-hop. A lot of it is also some old school R&B, and I'm not really into the new trap, new rap music. I'm not into that. Maybe I like Big Crit, but that's about it. Everyone else can pretty much fall off. But Drea, it seems like she has a whole wide range of music also, that it's a lot of mine, but also a lot more, where she listens to a lot of Latin music, I guess. And some of the Caucasian groups that I just don't listen to. I just didn't grow up on them, but she loves that stuff. So we have a nice little mix of eclectic music once we are riding down, when we're sitting on six fell.
I can't even mimic that. Well, I know for me, music has always been my happy place, right? And it's just always been a reflection of a certain time in my life. So yeah, when I was younger, my household was filled with music from Motown to Santana to Creedence Clearwater Revival to the latest in R&B. And then growing as I got older, then with more influences of my cousins and everyone else around me, it became some alternative music, and then more hip hop, and then old school R&B too, still mixing that. So I just had this mixture of everything. And then also a major influence on my life was also old school country music, which is mixed with some Latino music and cumbia. So yeah, I'm pretty much, my music was all bipolar. But again, it's a happy place for me. So when we met, it was such, to me, an important factor that we had at least a common love of what the impact of music can do for you and put you in that happy place. Like, I've seen you when some songs kick on, like when we did our first road trip, and the one song that kicked on in your playlist and you lost your mind, and so did I, because I was so happy that you loved this song.
What?
Was Stomp.
Oh, please, God, Brothers Johnson Stomp. Like, I'm telling you, if you cannot put Stomp on, if you don't move your head, then you eat Karen's potato salad. Like, seriously, you have no flavor at all, and you don't know what if you put that song on by the Brothers Johnson and have Thunder Thumbs over there just busting
Thunder
up on the bass. On the bass.
Rules.
There's no way you can't move. And it's like that brings people closer together. It's like one thing that I really love about Drea is the fact that I am very, very, very much deep into hip hop, and I love the old R&B, not just Motown. I like some of the old, like the Spinners, and like I'll listen to a lot of like that era, but we also like the 70s funk and some of the disco, and we'll just be chilling, like just chilling. But I love that she's also embraced and is very open to a lot of the hip hop that I've listened to. And not just some of the newer stuff. When I say newer, I'm talking about older school cats who put out newer music. Like, I mean, I still listen to some of that G-Rap and some of that K-Reno and, you know, some of these other guys.
K-Reno's so cool.
And some of these other guys, you know, who spit it. And, of course, Scarface. And, you know, like, some of the stuff is hard. And, you know, don't let me put on a song like Bitches and Hoes and then and have Drea start singing the hook. But we just, like, chilled, you know. We just sitting there having a good old time. But, you know, once, you know, Commodore's song might come on, we might just crack on it, or Secret Garden might come on with you remember that joint?
Quincy Jones.
Ooh, like, come on. Like, we'll just bug out and just have a good, because music is supposed to do that. And sure, you know, maybe Journey or somebody starts to come, or somebody wants me to, you know, don't stop believing, whatever, you know.
Don't stop.
That's pretty much every bar in the white neighborhoods. Like, not to make fun of them, but it's just every time that comes on, they go nuts. And you're like, you know what? I grew up in the suburbs. I'm going to sing along with you anyway. Who cares? You know, and just have a good, because I'm telling you, don't let like, what's that Jump from Van Halen with don't let that come on either.
Oh, gross. No, it's okay. Well,
I actually like that song. Like,
I actually had the 45.
Like I'm not lying. Like, if that comes on, I'm actually gonna bump my head down. I'm gonna nod a little bit.
I do gotta admit, yeah, actually,
like as chintzy as it is, I'm
is.
like, you know, I'm still gonna nod because it's also nostalgia and being, you know, growing up at the times that we did. I know that's what my feeling as well is.
Well, and I love how you accept it too, and you'll sing along to like Mana when they come on.
Oh
or
yeah, because you love it. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you when some Juanes play, you're like, yeah, Juanes.
Like Juanes, like why not? If it moves me, then, you know, how can you get mad at it? The only thing is, just don't play any death metal, because all I do is laugh. Like, seriously.
They're so angry.
What are you talking about?
Why are you so angry?
What do you speak English? You might as well just, you know what? I want to see death metal and trap. Because you can't understand either one of them. You know what? It could work.
I think you invented something right now.
Death trap.
I think let's try it out.
All right, we're over our time, but let's say we're gonna go to we are. All right,
Look,
1, 2, 3.
There's so many.
So let's see. We're gonna start with Hereditary. Let's just get over it now.
And first, shout out to Movie Pass. Thank you.
Thank you, Movie Pass. Even though we can only see one movie at a time now, thank you. We used to be able to see repeats, but anyway, Hereditary came out. Now the thing is, I saw this online as being scary. Oh, it's, you know, you won't be able to sit around and it's like The Exorcist and Rosemary's Baby and
we should know by now when it's gonna have that type of disclaimer. We're gonna be like, this is gonna suck.
Because Mother did the same thing to us. So we're like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go see Hereditary. It's gonna be scary. When Drea doesn't scream, that's the indicator that it probably isn't a scary movie. So number 1, it wasn't scary. Number 2, it was very forgettable. Number 3, it's like, what, you left the theater like,
what happened?
Like, what was this? What was this?
Yeah, I liked how it was shot and how they mixed the tiny houses with the scenes. But that, again, it didn't translate into something scary.
I have Alzheimer's right now because I literally cannot remember this movie.
Yeah, I remember it was like that. She like made tiny houses.
Oh,
and then
like I literally at this moment in time, I forgot the entire movie. I was like, what is she talking about? I could watch the movie right now and it'd be brand new. I'm like, I have Alzheimer's and dementia. This movie, she's making a little tiny house and the kid in there, and First of all, the kids look like they were 34.
I mean, these kids, even though they were like 10 and 13 and like 17, they already look like they are retired. And
like ARP cards, and I'm like, all right.
They were great at little actors. I give them that.
They were really good actors. Yeah.
Ahead of them.
Then all of a sudden, people were floating, and
I don't know.
Mom was acting up.
In other words, I win some
money.
And then
I'm like, what the hell? Then there was a treehouse, and
Grandma was a trip.
Like Grandma, like what was her issue? Like what?
And all her crazy friends.
Like all her buddies. And that's where the Rosemary's Baby stuff. I think that's where that feel. I don't care if I'm giving spoilers away because it sucks. All right.
Right.
Anyway,
that wasn't
next
unique.
we don't care. Hereditary was garbage.
Don't go see it.
Yeah, I'll probably get it anyway. So let's talk about Upgrade. Upgrade was dope.
Look, I definitely encourage everybody to see this. And shout out to my brother-in-law, Matt. He claims that he told us about it. I don't remember, but we'll just give you the credit anyways.
Yeah. Matt gets the credit even though nobody remembers him saying anything.
I don't remember, but thanks.
American Gods, though, yes. But not this. Sorry, Matt. I'm taking it away from you. So, yeah, we love this movie. This movie was just an absolute thrill. And of course, once Drea had spotted Billy the Puppet in there, I was like, could it be? And sure enough, in the credits, Lee Whannell of Saw fame had written and directed this, and this thing was just, it wasn't even a horror movie, which is what he's really famous for, and it was just fun.
The action was great. It was so much fun, and the surprise ending was so great.
That's what Lee likes to do.
That's what they do. It was so great, and I hope this movie makes a lot of money.
Yeah, otherwise people, if you didn't see it, you slept on it. Like, this was one of those really fun. It's violent, but it's a lot of fun.
How'd I explain it? It was like $1 Million Man combined with like Blade Runner almost.
$6 million.
$6 million. Oh, yeah. So
yeah, with like Blade Runner-ish. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah, because it's like a future, and like someone else was saying it could have been like a Black Mirror episode,
Definitely.
The way
so those of you like Black Mirror,
yeah, you got to see Upgrade. It's something completely different, and that's what the genre needed right now. Last, in the next 50 seconds, let's discuss The Incredibles 2.
So I guess it took 14 years for the sequel to be created, and it just is killing it at the box office. It's at least,
180 mil over the weekend. So they're destroying it. They're going to go crazy. And we knew something was going to be happening when we saw all them damn kids and strollers and parents at the damn theater.
for like a Friday and on Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday, Sunday.
Sunday. So it was crazy. So, but it was a lot of fun. It was definitely worth the wait. And if you love The Incredibles, which was a really good, it was a really good animated movie from, 2004. From 2004, and this was just a really great follow-up. All the actors are back.
You don't even need kids to enjoy it. Just go see it.
In fact, just like most animated series, the kids probably would miss a lot of it anyway.
True over their head.
Please listen
All right,
carefully.
we're coming back. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Zod.
And I'm Drea.
And we want you to check out the Zod and Drea podcast every Tuesday.
Where can everybody find us at?
You can always check us out on www.zodanddrea.com.
Where else?
You can always check us out also on Facebook at Zod and Drea.
Instagram?
Zod and Drea.
Snapchat?
Zod and Drea.
YouTube?
Zod and Drea.
I see a pattern.
So if you haven't caught that, catch us at Zod and Drea on all the social networks. But also, make sure you subscribe to the Zod and Drea podcast. Where?
At zodanddrea.com.
And also on YouTube and iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. We're coming for you.
Let us know what you think, and if you want to be a guest, reach out to us.
And put all of your input into whatever our topics are for the week. So we hope to check you out and see you there.
Bye!
And we're back.
We're back, of course, people.
So let's get into this subject because we know we're going to go over 15 minutes on this anyways. So what does the United States represent now in 2018? What does it represent? I know us growing up, we were told the story of what America is. It's the land of the free, home of the brave. If you are coming to this country from someplace undesirable, you'll be welcomed. You have a chance, just like everybody else in this country, to make something of yourself, to start a business, get a home, raise your family, because the education system here is so great. Healthcare is so great. And why wouldn't you want to be an American? Why wouldn't you want to come to this country? We have everything that anybody would ever desire to build a family and build a life and be prosperous. Right? Am I correct on what that?
No, this is what the United States is supposed to be built upon. Now that's the whole idea that they sell you in school. It's like, okay, you put your hand in your heart, you say the Pledge of Allegiance, and everything is supposed to be all great. Now, like that in itself is, a Pledge of Allegiance at such a young age, that already is an indoctrination. I mean, it really is.
You think about it, yeah.
Think about it. It's like, okay, I'm a little kid who doesn't know much, but I have to put my hand on my heart every time every time the national anthem comes on, I'm going to pledge allegiance simply because I was born here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I'm going to be pledging allegiance, that means you pledge allegiance to absolutely 100% of everything, which means the Constitution and all of the rights that are built within it. It's got to be beyond the First and Second Amendment. You got to keep on going through it for everything that's supposed to be right with the world.
But when you're in first grade, you don't know that.
That's just it.
Mm-hmm.
You're in first grade, you don't know that, but you're putting your hand in your heart anyway. But as soon as you take a knee when you're an adult because you want to make sure you have that free right to assembly, then the freedom of the press, then all of a sudden there is a problem. So what has the United States become? What does the United States represent now in 2018? Now, we have a whole bunch of items that we can discuss as to who we are and what we've become, such as, I know you want to talk about immigration. So talk about that for a minute.
Well, unless you've had your head in the sand for the past few days, the media has really shown a light, and I'm really happy to see this, of the children that have been separated from their families, from their mothers. We've heard reports of babies being separated while their mother is breastfeeding them, while they're captured at the border and taken to like a holding place where immediately the families are separated. And there's an account right now, I think over 300 children every week are being separated. And so you've got children that are traumatized. You've got mothers that are traumatized, fathers that are traumatized because they've already dealt with so much trauma coming to the border to get the piece of that dream that they've been told across the globe about how wonderful America is, so they could provide a better option for their families because they are leaving persecution.
But compare, what was it before that the United States was that is different now then regarding immigration?
That they pretty much don't want anybody that's color brown. If you're coming from South America, you are given hell to even come here to this country. You can't seek asylum anymore. You can't seek asylum for protection if you're coming from an area of the country, of the globe, I should say, where you are threatened or say you're, where you're just in jeopardy. You can't seek that anymore. And you're going to immediately be punished for even trying to come to this country, and your children is going to be removed from you. Who does that?
Well, here's the thing about immigration and removing of children. Kirsten or whatever, Chris Jen Nielsen or whatever her name is from Homeland Security, she had a really bad interview today. And one of the things that she did was she was comparing a lot of the people that were being taken. So we're talking about children that were being taken from their parents. And she kept saying things like only Congress can fix it, which is it's a policy. It's not a law that children are to be separated at the border. It's not a law. It's something that Trump can literally sign and make a phone call and say, yo, I need you to stop doing this. It's nothing that has to go through Congress, nothing.
Exactly.
He can literally do it. So what the difference is now and what the United States has become is, number one, an administration that lies so badly. I mean, there's over 3,000, I think it's the Wall Street Journal that has been keeping track of all of his lies. And the lies of this industry, in a year and a half or whatever it is, if you can lie that much, then you know that you're pulling the wool over the eyes of all of your followers. And that's what he does. He's doing things based on his ego, and to make sure that his ego is massaged enough so that he can have a base of people that will follow him no matter what. Because remember, also in this is a guy who embraces the dictatorship. So of course, when it comes to Kim Jong-un, he says, oh, you know what? All his people pretty much, bow to him and, want his will and all this. And I want that too.
I want my people to act
people to act that way. The president of the United States wants his people to act the way and then the fear that the people of North Korea do to Kim Jong-un. Now think about it. Like, that is what he wants. Then, of course, his people, and he say, "Oh, I was just kidding." Number one, that's nothing that you joke about. Number one, there's nothing you joke about. Number two, he's not kidding. Because when he went over to France and he saw Macron had a big army,
a parade,
a big parade with the army, he wanted to make sure that his parade had an army, despite it costing $10 million or whatever dollars that it was going to cost. So there's got to be an issue there. Now, when you're talking about the immigrants and the poor people in the immigration system over at the border, Kirsten, this is the head of Homeland Security, where she offered a technical response to a deeply emotional issue. This is one of the things that the United States is lacking these days: empathy. There's no empathy. There's no empathy. And these are all, and I'm sorry to say it, but these are all white people at the top who do not have empathy for people of color. This is what is missing. It's like, you know what? In order to solve first of all, we already have the answers to your problem. We already know what the problem is, and we have all the answers for it, like we have for the last 500 years. We have all the answers. Instead of listening to what the people are doing, listen to the citizens, because 2 out of 3 people do not like what they are doing at the border. They do not like it. American citizens. And the world is watching. The world is watching.
I don't understand this hatred towards people of color. I know this sounds very naive, and I can't believe it's coming out of my mouth, but I just am so struck and shocked with comparing the children that Trump had said were victims of the chemical warfare that Assad had implemented, 5 months ago, right? So you have images of these children who are lighter skin from a European country. Immediately, Trump and the administration is like, "Oh, we need to attack Assad. No, we can't believe this is happening." But yet you get children, though, that are from South America or south of just the border, and he just has no empathy at all. He would rather see these children locked up, traumatized, and just forget about them like they don't exist and treat them like cattle. And not only the children, but just even the parents. Anybody seeking asylum from South America just wants to forget about them and make sure they just don't exist.
Now, stressing off of there, because I don't want to talk only immigration.
Yeah,
because what I want to do is I want to make sure I compare what is going on in immigration with what has been going on in other parts of history. Now, people say that, hey, you know what? The first thing they did in the Hitler times is they took their guns. No, what they did was they discredited the media. Goebbels went out and he discredited the media, and he made sure that he, under Hitler's rule, wound up spreading propaganda, spreading false propaganda. Now, remember, Trump is the person at the top who loves the fact that Kim Jong-un is being followed by his people. He doesn't care about the war crimes. The fact this man has killed his own people, his own family members. He doesn't care about that. He likes strength, and he likes the fact that this is a strong man. That's why he praised him and showed, he was such a good guy and this and that, and he's so smart and blah, blah, blah. He also did the same thing with Putin. Putin, who has killed. This guy is a bully. He's a thug, and he goes ahead and kills. Like this Duterte, who kills people for selling drugs. Just kills them.
Admits that he has killed them himself.
He has gone over there himself. Now, when you do that, you look to discredit the media first. And this is what the Nazis did in Hitler's rise to power. This is what they did. So if you really want to get over the fact that this is what we're doing, you're going to have to look into history and really try to pinpoint what it is. The people who are not recognizing this are being the followers. Those are the people who are Nazi sympathizers. Now, it's really easy for today to say, hey, you know what, I'm not for the Nazis and I would never do that, except for the fact that you are falling in lockstep with exactly what was being going on then. Think about this. It's like you have people at a border who are seeking refuge. You had Jews who wanted to seek refuge. They couldn't get through, and what they did is they sent them back to Germany. A lot of them were caught back from Poland, or they sent from Poland, or they escaped and came. They were sent to concentration camps.
And what were they labeling the Jews as they're taking our jobs.
Yeah, they're taking our job. Yeah, and that's exactly they did not like the Judeo-Christian. Oh, they didn't like the Jew-Christian mix. They did not like that at all. So you got to see what people are doing nowadays that is the exact same, by splitting up the families, by discrediting the media, by having state media, the propaganda, which is Fox News. You can pretend that it is not, but it is a show that may have 2 news shows. Shep Smith and like a couple other guys are probably the only people that are actually journalists on there. And the rest of them are opinion pieces, and people get their news from them. This is where they get their news.
It's like gospel.
It's gossip. That's what it is. Like you can get better stuff at TMZ than you can on Fox News, and people are falling for this. Exactly how Goebbels wanted to. Exactly how Adolf Hitler wanted to. Do you understand what you are and in history where you will be placed? Just like the people who are following Hitler, and also the people who are following the slaves, the masters. They were separating children right as soon as they got off the boat, if they survived. They separated, and that was the last time they saw their kids, and they put them to work for the rest of their lives. These people nowadays over at the border are doing the exact same thing. And you can't tell me that they aren't. And you can't say that where you were and where you are in history. It's like, I mean, let's talk about, we talked about the prequel, which was slavery, which is the Holocaust. This is where it is, and in history it is right now, what we're seeing at the border. It's like, let's talk about the future. You may say, hey, a dystopian future is, it's just TV show, it's just fodder, it's just all this.
It's just fiction.
But when you do see The Handmaid's Tale, or I guess the books are probably very much similar to it, there isn't too much of a difference as to what would happen if it was Gilead. And especially in the show when they try to escape over to Canada, and what happens, like, if you as a parent were in a place that was like the Holocaust or like slavery or like we're talking about Mexico, Honduras, these people where their lives are threatened,
Guatemala.
Syria. And you're like, you know what? I will go anywhere, even the United States, where I can have a chance. How are you going to sit there and blame people who are so desperate to get into that land? And even though this land then goes and separates them from their children, and then you go and say, well, if they didn't want their children separated, they shouldn't have come here.
Right. How dare you shame the parents or tell them that that was a bad parental choice? They have no choice. The only choice is to survive. How dare you judge them?
This is the internment camp from the Japanese all over again. They are throwing them in cages, and they can say what they want, but they're in cages. And if you've ever seen a little child crying, we were just in The Incredibles 2 and heard kids crying. Imagine if their parents didn't touch them or pick them up, they'd still be crying right now. And we're talking about they separated them and threw them in different prisons. And they are going to find a way, as soon as they can possible, to monetize this. Because that is capitalism, and that is what the United States is, and that is what Trump is about making money off of human bodies. This guy would be a slave trader in the past. He would be a Nazi, which he pretty much is, in 1930s, and he would be owning the Japanese internment camps. No question. And anybody following that regime and pretending that in the past it was bad, but now it is not, you are, number one, not a Christian, and number two, you are not an American. And this is where America is going in this direction. I mean, I'm sorry. I know I'm taking up a lot of time, but go ahead.
Look at our history. This is scary. Think about, too, it wasn't too long ago that we had the Native Americans here in Arizona and parts of the Southwest that the federal government, the federal government implemented a forced assimilation program, separating children from their mothers, cutting their hair.
Look up Indian school.
Yeah, Are we going to learn from this? We're
not learning from it. And, I'm ashamed of myself for not bringing it up, because not only slavery, not only internment camps, not only the Holocaust, but the Trail of Tears. Any person of color that has tried to come into this country, although they owned it, although they were just more due here and more willing.
This is their land.
This is their land. To be ousted the way that all of us have, and you still don't see this happening, there's an issue. So what has America become? And we want to know what it is, and what does it represent in 2018? We already know that the Paris Accords have been canceled. We already know the climate. There's so much right now that we are getting screwed up on, where we're alienating our allies and we're embracing all the dictators. This is a problem, people. But anyway.
But that's why this is how we always end our show. Tell us what you think. What is your idea of America now? Do you still hold on to these ideals of what it could be, what you were sold as a kid?
Or are you part of the problem right now? Are you the ones who are defending what is going on right now? You either fight against it or you fight for it. It's one or the other. There is no moral code on this. You're not a Christian if you're with putting these children in prisons. You are not, and you are not.
I have a hope of what it could be.